The hospital called me at 3 a.m. and said someone had been pretending to be my emergency contact. I thought it was a mistake until the nurse whispered, "Your son signed the form." My stomach dropped. Daniel had never been my emergency contact. I drove there before sunrise, terrified and confused. If you like emotional family stories with secrets and betrayal, stay with Family Betrayal and subscribe. The faces, photos, and scenes in this video are visual recreations for storytelling and imagination only. Dr. Harris met me in the hallway. "Your son told us you've been confused and unable to make decisions." I stared at him. "That's a lie." He opened a folder. Inside was a medical authorization carrying a signature that looked almost like mine. "Who signed this?" "We don't know," he said. "But someone used it to request access to your medical and financial information." My hands went cold. For months, Daniel had asked strange questions about my house, savings, and will. I always defended him. He was my only son, and after my wife died, he was the closest family I had left. Then Dr. Harris showed me another page. It listed a woman as my caregiver. I had never met her. "Your son said she has been caring for you for months," he said. I felt betrayed before I even understood why. I rushed home and searched the drawer where I kept my property papers. The folder Daniel had brought me weeks earlier was gone. So was the deed to my house. Then my phone rang. It was Daniel. "Dad, we need to talk about your health." "My health? Why did you take my deed?" Silence. Then he whispered, "You don't understand what's happening." I looked through my window. Daniel was standing outside my house with the unknown woman beside him. She was holding my missing folder. And when she looked toward my window, she smiled. I knew the truth was closer than I had feared for days. I stayed behind the curtain and watched Daniel and the woman walk toward my front door. Dr. Harris had warned me not to sign anything. Daniel knocked. "Dad, I know you're in there." I stayed silent. "We're trying to protect you," he called. "Protect me?" After stealing my papers. When they finally left, I called Dr. Harris and told him everything. He told me to find my legal documents immediately. I searched my office and found an old copy of my will. Daniel was named as my beneficiary. It claimed I had changed my will 3 weeks earlier and left everything to him. The signature looked like mine again. I called my lawyer's office. His assistant checked the records and went quiet. "Someone came here last week asking about your estate," she said. "Who?" "Your son." I sat down. Then my phone buzzed. An unknown number had sent a message. "Your son isn't the person you should fear. Check your wife's old hospital records." I drove straight back to the hospital. Dr. Harris pulled up Linda's old file and stared at the screen. "This woman was listed as your wife's caregiver," he said. It was the same woman who had stood beside Daniel outside my house. I could barely breathe as I stared at her face. Her name was Martha Collins. Linda had been ill for months before she died. Daniel had taken control of her paperwork. I thought he was helping his mother. Now I wondered if he had been preparing for something else. Dr. Harris lowered his voice. "There's one more thing." He showed me a phone number connected to Martha's old records. It was Daniel's number. I drove home and remembered Linda's locked bedroom drawer. I found an old key hidden inside my wife's jewelry box. When I opened the drawer, I found a letter with my name on it. The first line said, "Jack, if you are reading this, I was right to be afraid." My hands began shaking. Linda had left me a secret, and whatever was inside that letter could change everything. I read Linda's letter twice, but the words still felt impossible. She had written that Daniel was being pressured by someone close to our family. Then I found another page. Linda had written, "If anything happens to me, do not trust Richard." Richard was my older brother. He had always been close to Daniel. My phone rang just after midnight. I froze when I saw Daniel's name. I had a terrible feeling that the letter had somehow been discovered. My phone rang. It was Daniel. "Dad, where are you?" "At home." He became quiet. Then he asked, "Did you open Mom's drawer?" "How do you know about the drawer?" He didn't answer. "You need to give me those papers," he said. "What papers?" "Dad, please. Just trust me." "You knew about this?" Daniel sighed. "I knew Mom left something behind." I immediately called Richard. "Jack, we need to talk." "About Linda?" There was a long silence. Then he said, "She found out too much." "What did she find out?" "Richard told me to meet him at an old diner outside town." He pushed an envelope across the table. "Linda gave this to me before she died," he said. "Why didn't you give it to me?" "She made me promise to wait until you were in danger." I opened the envelope. Inside was a bank statement. There were payments connected to my property. The date started nearly 2 years ago. The name receiving the money was Martha Collins. Who authorized these payments? He lowered his eyes. Daniel did. Then Richard whispered, Jack, Daniel didn't start this. Someone taught him how. I asked who. Richard looked toward the window. Your lawyer. A message from Daniel appeared. Dad, don't trust Richard. I had spent my whole life believing family was the one place where I was safe. Now I wasn't sure who was protecting me and who was setting the trap. Then the diner lights suddenly went dark, and someone whispered my name from behind me. I turned, afraid of what I'd see. The diner lights came back on, and I saw Daniel standing behind me. Richard was gone, and the envelope was still in my hand. Dad, please listen, Daniel said. I know how this looks. How it looks? I asked. You forged my signature, lied about my health, and tried to control my property. His eyes filled with tears. I was trying to stop Richard. Daniel finally told me the truth. Richard and Martha had been working with my old lawyer to take control of my estate. They had pressured Daniel into helping them, then threatened to blame everything on him. Daniel had panicked and played along, hoping to protect me. I wanted to believe him, but trust was already broken. Then Dr. Harris entered with 2 police officers. He had contacted them after I showed him the documents. The forged papers had been preserved as evidence. Daniel handed me a flash drive. Mom recorded everything. Linda's voice came through the speaker. She explained that she had discovered the plan before she died. She had hidden proof because she feared they would use Daniel against me. I cried when I heard her say, Jack, if you are hearing this, remember that our son is still your son. Don't let what they did destroy your family. Months later, the forged documents were rejected, my property was protected, and the people behind the scheme faced consequences. Daniel and I did not become close again overnight. It took a while. But one Sunday morning, he came to my house with coffee, and for the first time in years, we sat together without fear. That experience taught me something I will never forget. Betrayal can come from people you trust, but the truth can survive when someone is brave enough to uncover it. What would you have done in my place? Tell me in the comments, share this story with someone you love, and subscribe to Family Betrayal. Sometimes protecting your family means facing the truth before it is too late.